Hey guys, it's been a very, very long time. I have been working on other personal projects, but I had to come back for an Ethereum merge update. This is pretty much going to be one of the most substantial events that we've seen in the progression of crypto history. Um, there's three things that the merge is really focused on, right? We're focusing on scalability, faster transaction speeds, lower gas fees, more transactions processed per second. We're going to be looking at sustainability. Um, this is something I don't really talk about too much because I think it's really kind of hypocritical, almost like the resistors of cryptocurrency on the basis that it uses a lot of computational power. That is true, but relative to what? Like the centralized banking industry uses way more energy and computational power than the crypto space does, and it has for decades. So that's really kind of a very weak argument against cryptocurrency on the ESG side of things, environmental social governance. But and the last thing that we're really going to be focused on is security in the merge. Like, of course, as the protocol and the network expand, we're going to need more security. We're going to need, more safe gates that ensure the integrity of the network. So if you have been following crypto in the last few years, or maybe you are a legacy crypto enthusiast and you've been in the space for quite a few years, I'm sure we've all been hearing about the merge. What does the Ethereum merge mean? What does this mean for crypto? What does this mean for the protocol? A couple of things. So about a year ago, we saw Ethereum upgrade their networks and their protocol to include a burning mechanism. IEP 1559 would have been that update. So as we've seen these scaling solutions to make transactions faster, while also decreasing the supply of Ethereum through the burning mechanism. Okay, what does that, what does that mean? We have a decreased supply. We bring it back to basic 101 economics that creates scarcity when there's limited supply, therefore creating a demand. Bitcoin is known as the store of value coin because of its limited supply and circulation and the inability to create more of them. So you can, check out one of my other videos for a more in-depth explanation about that. But circling back over to Ethereum, this is so substantial because most like OG cryptocurrencies were built on a proof of work consensus mechanism. And that just means that the validators that consist of miners are verifying your transactions through a methodology that involves solving really complex puzzles and logic algorithmic puzzles that they're using these computers to solve for them. Basically, that's where the very weak computational power argument comes in, because of the mining element and the power that's needed to engage in mining as a validator. So proof of work is basically just a fancy way to say all the network is being validated and kept its integrity through the validation of miners, and with the transition over to proof of stake, which is what we're going to see with the Ethereum 2.0 merge. We're going to see a transition over from Ethereum's beacon chain over to the Gurley network. And we've already seen quite a few successful trials, just working out the kinks of the software. So we're in a really good place and things are looking really great for this upcoming merge in September. So with the proof of stake upgrades to the protocol, we're basically going to see transition from the transactions being verified by the miners as validators to being validated by the stakers, by the stakeholders. So staking is essentially, think of, ownership in a company or ownership of a fraction of something, right? The larger position that you have staked, basically the more influence you're going to have over protocol decisions and over just network updates in general. So there are a lot of skeptics that don't want to see this model in the crypto space simply on the grounds of centralization, and that's kind of what we're trying to avoid. Solana is one of those projects that has a very centralized network, a very just a very centralized way of doing things. And we're going to see proof of stake make upgrades much easier without needing, you know, as many consenting members like we have in the mining model, the proof of work model. But this is really the most important because it's a transition over to make scalability more feasible. So to put it into perspective, I think Visa can transact somewhere around like 1.5 million transactions a second. So comparing that to a lot of our crypto projects, some of our cryptos, you know, we have slower transaction times. And a lot of that comes from just not having the infrastructure that MasterCard and Visa have had for decades, right? So they're building this up in these ways, and we're seeing these protocols and we're seeing these upgrades and improvements because it's following the adoption of Web3. So I think there's going to be a lot of great things that come from this merge. And the other thing that this is going to mean is just we're going to see the Ethereum devs implementing sharding. So in simple terms, what that is just like division and delegation of tasks, data, and actions. So you can think of Adam Smith's division of labor, right? Specialization in labor. You have specialties and they're delegated in that way to promote efficiency, to promote functionality, right? So after the EIP 1559 update that implemented the burning mechanism that is limiting the supply, we're now seeing the network, you know, breaking down into these smaller, more task / action oriented or data collecting items. And it's just going to be a really, really huge leap for the space. Now, there is also going to be, of course, a point of resistance with moving over from proof of stake to proof of work, because that is going to leave miners without a task, right? Without the ability to validate the network through their proof of work mechanisms, because we're making that transition over to a staking consensus model. So what hasn't really been determined yet is if this is going to indeed cause a hard fork, which is basically just a rift in the protocol. We saw this with Ethereum mainnet, and we saw this with Ethereum Classic. It was the original hard fork, and these hard forks happen basically when there's a non-consensus about, you know, what the next protocol upgrade should be, what the next move should be, and therefore two chains are created. So it'll be very interesting to see if this go round we do see a hard fork and we do see a split off, because the miners, I personally think the miners are very unlikely to just, you know, revert back to mining Ethereum Classic. And that's kind of a video for another day, but it'll definitely be interesting to see the rift that occurs as a result of this merge. But all in all, this is a really great thing for the project. It's one of the most substantial moments that we've had, like, again, just in crypto history, these updates and these layering solutions and these scalability solutions. It's going to be really great for the ecosystem in terms of just utility and processing. In terms of price, you know, I've always been very bullish on Ethereum. I can't really put a price target out there. I do work for an exchange. I'm not going to say which one, but yeah, I just think it's a really great thing for the space in terms of adoption. We're seeing a lot of whale movement in the Ethereum space, but it's going to be just a really great step forward for us. And I'm really excited to see what happens next and how the space continues to evolve. So I had to come with that update, you guys. I'm going to be back. I've been working on other things, working on getting some new equipment, some editing software, all of that. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Subscribe and turn on the notifications if you would like more updates.